In the heart of Manhattan, Kingsley's, an elite restaurant bathed in soft golden light, was a sanctuary of wealth and exclusivity. Crystal chandeliers cast prisms across starched white tablecloths, and the clink of fine china mingled with a murmur of high society conversation. On this particular evening, the air was charged with an unusual tension. Conversations hushed, forks paused midair, and dozens of eyes turned toward a small clearing between the tables. A 10-year-old boy, Lucas Montgomery, stood trembling, his legs encased in metal braces that gleamed under the chandelier's glow. His small hand extended toward Diana Johnson, the restaurant's only black waitress, as the pianist's soft melody filled the room. Lucas, his face a mix of determination and nervousness, had impulsively asked her to dance. "Sir, please control your son," snapped Mr. Thornton, the restaurant manager, his voice slicing through the silence like a blade. "This is inappropriate. Kingsley's is not a dance hall, and our staff are not here to entertain children." His words dripped with disdain, his eyes darting toward Richard Montgomery, Lucas's father and one of the wealthiest men in America, whose investment empire dominated Wall Street. That Richard's jaw tightened. This was the first time he had taken Lucas out in public since a car accident 2 years prior had left the boy partially paralyzed. Regret gnawed at him. This outing was a mistake. "Lucas, sit down," he said, his voice low but firm, carrying the weight of a man accustomed to being obeyed. Diana stood frozen, her tray balanced in one hand, her dark eyes flicking between the manager's scowl, Richard's stern expression, and Lucas's outstretched hand. For 5 years, she had perfected the art of invisibility at Kingsley's, blending into the background for patrons like the Montgomerys. But now, she set her tray down, untied her apron, and folded it neatly. "Mr. Thornton, my shift is over," she said calmly, her voice steady despite the room's scrutiny. Then, to the astonishment of everyone, she turned to Lucas with a warm smile and took his hand. "I can't dance in an apron, can I?" Richard shot to his feet. "What do you think you're doing?" he demanded, his tone a mix of disbelief and authority. Diana met his gaze without flinching. "Accepting an invitation, sir." Before anyone could intervene, Lucas took a halting step forward, his brace scraping against the polished floor. The sound was jarring in the silent room, but Diana didn't rush him or correct his movements. She matched his slow, uneven pace, letting him lead. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "She'll be fired by morning," a woman at a nearby table muttered, sipping her wine. Richard stood rooted, his mind flashing to a memory of his late wife, Elizabeth, twirling Lucas in their sunlit living room. "It's not about perfection," she'd said, laughing. "It's about connection." Now, watching Diana and Lucas, Richard saw something shift in his son's eyes. Fear melting into focus, shame giving way to a flicker of pride. For the first time since the accident, Lucas wasn't being guided or pitted. He was leading. "Mr. Montgomery," Thornton hissed, stepping closer. "I assure you, this will not happen again. She'll be dealt with." Richard didn't respond. Lucas's tentative smile drowned out the manager's words. The boy's clumsy steps, guided by Diana's patience, held the room captive. After 3 careful steps, Diana gently led Lucas back to his seat. "Thank you for the dance, sir," she said with a formal nod, as if addressing a grown man. It was an honor. As she turned to leave, Richard's voice stopped her. Wait. He pulled a business card from his suit jacket, his movements deliberate. What's your full name? Diana Johnson, sir, she replied, her voice steady but her hand trembling slightly as she took the card. My office. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., he said, his tone unreadable. The restaurant seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the billionaire's next move. Lucas looked up, confused. Dad, why did you do that? Richard didn't answer, but as Diana walked away, he saw not just the waitress who had defied decorum, but a woman who had given his son something no doctor or therapist had, a moment of agency. The weight of his own absence in Lucas's life pressed against him. For 2 years, he'd buried himself in work, avoiding the boy's pain and his own. The next morning, Diana stepped into the gleaming lobby of Montgomery Tower, her navy skirt and white blouse modest against the marble and glass. The receptionist's cool appraisal made her clutch her worn purse tighter, but she held her head high. Diana Johnson to see Mr. Montgomery, she said. After a brief call, she was directed to the 18th floor. Miss Winters, Richard's sharp-eyed assistant, greeted her with a skeptical look. In a private waiting room, she didn't bother to hide her assumptions. He had you fired, didn't he? That's what happens when you cross a man like Montgomery. People like you don't belong here. People like me? Diana's smile was calm but pointed. And where exactly is my place? Before Winters could respond, her phone buzzed. He'll see you now. Richard's office was a fortress of power, with floor-to-ceiling windows framing Manhattan like a conquered kingdom. He stood gazing out, his back to her. Miss Johnson, he said, turning. Thank you for coming. He gestured to a chair, and a heavy silence settled, the kind meant to unsettle. Diana sat, unfazed. Do you have a background? He asked abruptly. Excuse me? Education. College. Bachelor's in Child Development from NYU. Incomplete master's in special education, she replied, her voice steadied at Richard's brow lifted slightly, a rare crack in his composure. And you work as a waitress? 3 jobs, actually. The restaurant, a bookstore on weekends, and tutoring when I can. He picked up a folder from his desk, flipping it open to reveal photos of a modest community center. Freedom Steps, he said. You co-founded it 6 years ago with your sister, Zoe, a dance program for children with physical disabilities, now facing closure due to lack of funding. Diana's expression didn't waver. I didn't come here to ask for money, Mr. Montgomery. Then why did you come? Because you asked me to. He allowed a dry chuckle. Fair enough. He paced, restless. I want you to work for me. Diana blinked, caught off guard. As a waitress in your home? As a therapeutic companion for Lucas? His voice softened on his son's name, betraying a rare vulnerability. I have the best specialists, therapists, neurologists, psychologists. But what you did last night, he paused, searching for words. It was the first time I've seen him smile since the accident. It was just a dance, Mr. Montgomery. It was more than that. He glanced at a framed photo on his desk. A woman holding a baby, her smile radiant.